now and say good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Risoli Nation's men's Zoom call. We have a very special guest tonight that I'll get to in just a second. But let me introduce myself. I'm Peter O'Brien, and along with my wife, Dinah O'Brien, we are area managers and independent consultants with Arbonne. I'm a wealth manager during the day and a wealth creator at night with Arbonne. And I am humbled and excited, to be here tonight because we've had some great speakers on this call. Clark Harrison, Luke Huntington, Bill Taub, Matt Cavelli, Mark Hayford, Kurt Swick, Chris Weiler, Ryan Kane was on a couple weeks ago. Brett Powers was on it, and just many more. And obviously, we have another great speaker tonight. You're just going to love this young man. And before I introduce him, what I love about doing the men's call is that we all come here for the same reasons. We might not know each other real well, but for instance, I really didn't know Dylan before we started getting involved with this, and quite honestly, don't really know him all that well, but he's here tonight, and so we all come for the same reasons. We all share the same values or similar values. We all have similar goals. We all have common beliefs. And what we all want at the very end of it is time freedom and money freedom. And that is the reason that we're all here tonight. And we also want to help ourselves by helping others achieve their goals, because it doesn't happen any other way with Arbonne. So it's one of the things I love about this. And when we're surrounded by people that believe what we believe and have those similar values, we're much more confident. We're much more powerful together. And the sky's the limit of what we can accomplish for ourselves and for people that are with us. And, so tonight we're going to hear a little bit more about that, a very different perspective from our guest tonight, Dylan Dreiling. Dylan has lived an Arbonne life in a different way than, 99.9% of the other people out there. His mom's story, if you don't know it, we're not really going to go into it other than what Dylan might share. But, you need to know Christy Dreiling's story. And perhaps you're a guest, if you're a guest, you might not know, but let me do say this to you, that whether you're a guest, or whether you're building your business, whether you are a spouse and supporting another one, this business has something significant for everyone. And again, you're going to hear that through Dylan tonight. He's articulate, he's confident, very personable, as you're going to find out in just a second. He's a spokesperson for the millennials. But having said that, there's a great message that he has and he will share. And whether it's you're young or old in the business, there's a great message here. So without any further ado, let me turn it over to our special guest, Dylan Dreiling. And Dylan, if you will, there you go. Thank you, and welcome, and thanks for being here.
Hey, listen, thank you for having me, and it's such a huge blessing. And it's been really interesting lately. I've been getting on a lot of different calls with different nations and just different DAs. It's been a blast, because in this business, the thing is that, you come into this business and you think it's, you're going to just put your head down, you're going to work for yourself, you're going to build yourself a big team. But the beautiful thing about our culture and what we do is that we can go into other people's teams and just breathe life into people, because that's why I do this. That's why I decided to build this business, is to breathe life into people at the end of the day. And I love that there's guys in this call, a little bit of testosterone, we can kind of hang out, have some fun. That's the funny thing. Recently I was helping my uncle remodel his house, and we're, getting down, hammering nails in and cutting stuff up. And it's like, I love this testosterone because I don't get that very much in my business. So, the thing is tonight, this is kind of a shorter call. I'm just going to try to breathe into you guys. I didn't have a super big plan for what I'm going to do tonight. I'm just going to let it flow through. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Dylan Dreiling. I've been in Arbonne for about three years now. My background, I was an actor, a model. I've been, believe it or not, I've been running businesses for about 8 years now. My first business was a nonprofit called Team Fit, and it grew into a really successful nonprofit. I traveled the country with it. I was talking to celebrities for my board of directors, and just doing a lot of great stuff. And I've always been an entrepreneur, but I think that the root of that is really my mother. And growing up in this business, I was in this business since I was 8 years old. My mom started probably 15 years ago, and at the time, we were kind of living paycheck to paycheck. We lived in a little 1,500 square foot house in a small town in Kansas. And my dad was an ad director at an agency. My mom was a stay-home mom with a little bit of photography on the side. And so we were just a normal, middle, lower class family, just getting by paycheck to paycheck. And this thing, Arbonne, came into our lives and just propelled us beyond our wildest dreams. It was the most incredible thing. And through that, she inspired me to want to take life by the reins and do something and to create something, not only for myself, but for others. And so I credit a lot of what I'm doing today to her and to Arbonne, and it's what I grew up doing. But the interesting thing is I never thought I'd do it. I was running my nonprofit. I was really successful with it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to, sell it for $100 million. I'm going to, live on the beach for the rest of my life. Right. That was my perfect plan. But the interesting thing is when I got more involved in that, I realized that there was so much more to life than money, than, just chasing the next shiny object. Right. And so I went through kind of this transformation where I went from wanting to glorify myself and to wanting to lift up others, right? To empowering other people. And that became my life's purpose. And I never thought I'd do Arbonne in a million years. But one night I just had this come to Jesus moment, if you will. And Arbonne just made itself apparent to me. And so I jumped in with 2 feet, and I haven't looked back since. But the reason I'm on here tonight is for men, right? Because, we come into this business and we are a minority all the way, which isn't such a bad thing a lot of the times. But, it can be interesting because we see how women are doing it, and they kind of do it in a different way from us, right? And we can't really connect. So we have to find people we connect with, and that's really important. We got to stick together. But let me talk a little bit, okay, so the differences between men and women. Now, I think this is actually, there's a lot of differences per se in this business, but one of the interesting things, can you hear me? You said my connection's unstable. Can you hear me? Okay. So the interesting thing is the way that men and women communicate. It's okay? Okay. So the way men and women communicate is completely different. See, women communicate to convey feeling, whereas men, more often than not, communicate to communicate fact, right? That's the big difference. And a lot of times in this business, we see women, crying and doing these huge, crazy, energetic meetings, and we can't connect with it, right? Because us men, we are hardwired to think logically. We want to get from point A to point B. And that's the important thing. We have to realize that there's a distinct difference. So, but we can also use that to our strengths. We can use that to help us in our business, because so often, we come into this business and we think that we have to do it the way that women do it, but we don't. We can come forward and we can be powerful and strong and inspiring. And that's going to bring in so many more people, because people will look up to you. They will respect you because you're different. You're unique, right? And so that's one interesting thing. And I see it a lot in my team and coaching women. You can't speak to women the same way you speak to men, right? With a phone call with my team, like I have a crazy diverse team, but I get on the phone with some of my guy team members, and it's like, okay, man, here's what we're doing. Here's when we're going to do it. Let's get it done, right? 2-minute phone call. It's done. We're gonna follow through with it. With women, typically it's more of a 30-minute conversation. We got to pep each other up, which is awesome, right? But we just, as men in this business, we have to learn how to communicate with different people, right? And I love the classic. I think it works for everybody. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. If you haven't read it, read it. If you've already read it, read it again, because it's so important, right? But at the same time, I think that a lot of times in this business, I think we I think we see differentiations too clearly. Let me kind of explain that a little bit. So often we want to categorize people as, young or old, man, woman, Gen Y, baby boomer. We try to put all these people in these categories, but what I have found, the more life experience I gain, is that you just can't do that. The more we categorize and separate people, the cloudier our vision becomes, and the more we overthink things, right? At the end of the day, all we're doing is we're providing people with a product and a business that can change their life. That's all you need to know, right? So if someone is, in their 60s, they're probably going to want the anti-aging. That's probably going to be something that's going to be relevant to them. Just because I'm in my 20s does not mean that I can't sell anti-aging to them. They have a different need, right? We're just solving needs. You don't go around trying to sell women the men's product, right? We have a men's product for men. And so the thing is that so often we just overcomplicate it, and we have to realize that we have all these different products because we're serving so many different people. But you don't have to be, a 60-year-old woman to sell to 60-year-old women. You don't have to be, a woman to sell to women. You can be a man in this business, work with men, work with women, bring it all together, because essentially we're all the same. We have these core fundamental needs. And if you can fulfill them, then you can build success in this business. Then you can have an impact. That's what it really boils down to. And so at the end of the day, what I think with anybody in this business, I wanted to touch on this, is vision, right? So many of us have kind of a vague idea of what we want from life, but we don't actually put it into concrete terms exactly what we want. And here's a quote I love by Tony Robbins. He says, "A small vision has no power to move men's blood." I think that is so insanely powerful, because if you are in this business and you don't have a huge vision for how you're going to change people's lives and influence the world, you're never going to achieve it, because we get in life what our standards are. We never get what we want, right? You say, oh, I want that, shiny white Mercedes. That's not going to be compelling enough for you to build it, right? You have to have a vision of absolute certainty where you say, this is my standard and I am not going to quit until I reach this level, right? And then you can go through that process of creating it. But I know this is a men's call, but I think that's really important, because a lot of times we lower that vision. We say, I'm a minority. I just don't connect with these people. I'm just going to kind of sit back and just watch other people do it. But that's the wrong way to look at it. See, we need to be trailblazers. We need to step up to the plate and build something absolutely powerful. Okay. We need to be the men who walk in our line and say, hey, we do. So the interesting thing, people know how to communicate. So if you're a woman, you're trying to communicate to a man, it's the same basic approach, but switched, right? If you're talking to a man, you want to be very specific, logical, point A to point B. Here's how you get there. Here's how we can achieve your goals, right? Because it's this different communication strategy. But if you try to get emotional with men, it's going to turn them off. They're going to distance themselves, because they're going to say, I don't want to be a part of this. This does not feel right, right? So you have to assess who they are as a human being, and then say, okay, I'm going to talk to them from this logical standpoint. Here, we can go international. We can build this business, X, Y, Z. Let's get there, right? So there's a different way of communicating with men. If you want to talk to women, you got to be like, appeal to emotion, right? So we can serve these people. We can build camaraderie between your team. And I would highly recommend looking at Tony Robbins' 6 Human Needs. That would take forever for me to talk about it, but check it out, the 6 Human Needs. Learn to assess people's human needs. You can learn to influence anybody. Okay. So next thing, I know we're a little bit short on time here, but let's talk a little bit about Arbonne, because if you're, coming onto this call and you just heard me talk about this, you're probably, your brain is probably exploding right now. And I apologize if you're, it's scrambled up and you have no idea what this business is. I don't have a whole lot of time to get into the nooks and crannies. Hopefully the person who invited you can kind of fill you in on a lot of that stuff. But here's the thing, the approach I always take when I'm bringing someone into this business is I ask them, what do you want from life? What do you want? What do you want to live? What do you want to achieve? How do you want to interact with people? Who do you want to be as a person? That is so important, because the thing is if you look at our culture today, if you look at the political landscape, if you look at the cultural landscape, you see this shallowness, you see this lack of examination of our hearts. And truly, the reason why so many people are lost is because they haven't taken the time to really ask themselves, what do I want? What will make me happy? You see, we're clouded by fear disguised as practicality, right? Because we're trained that way. But we have to just let ourselves be vulnerable, take off that armor for a second and ask ourselves, what do we truly want and why do we want it? Okay? And so once you ask, what do I want and why do I want it? Then we can ask ourselves, how am I going to get there? Right? And I always believe in this thing called divine appointments. I believe that when we are ready, the exact thing that we need comes into our life at the right time. And so Arbonne could very well be something that could totally connect with you at this point, right? So if you've gone through the process of, I want something more, and I want it because I want to feel more alive on a daily basis, and you're just kind of in scrambles, why do I want this? How am I going to get this? Arbonne can be the way for you to check. Arbonne's been around for 36 years now. We were founded in Europe, in Norway, by a man named Petter Mork. He was a scientist, a chemist. He was a brilliant entrepreneur. And the entire reason why he started this company is because he wanted to create products that weren't harmful. He wanted to create a line of products, especially in the 80s. So Arbonne was founded in the 80s, right? 85. And at the time, nobody was thinking about vegan. Nobody was thinking about clean products. So all these chemicals were going into these on these products you buy off the shelf, and people were getting sick. And so Petter was a visionary to the point to where he saw this back in 85, and he started a product line that was going to be pure, safe, and beneficial, made from plants. And it was going to serve people at the highest level. But he also had a dual purpose. And this is what is really incredible, because a lot of people have a great product, but they don't take it to the next step on how they can truly help people, on another level. And that's where Petter went. So he made it a network marketing business, which is so crazy, because his idea was founded upon not only giving a better product, but building a business model that could give people financial freedom, time freedom, the ability to travel the world, the ability to live their dreams. And that's what's so powerful about this, And so the interesting thing is, a lot of people hear network marketing and they're like, oh, well, that's just one of those pyramid schemes. Nobody actually makes it. It's one of those things where everyone's jacked up on their products and they're just trying to hype, right? It's actually quite the opposite. Let me address the pyramid scheme first. So if we look at any corporate structure, there's nothing wrong with corporations, right? We need them in this world that we live in, right? It's part of the global economy. But with a corporation, you have the CEO at the top, the vice presidents, middle managers, and then you have the employees. The employees have no control over how far they advance. They have no control over their salary. They have no real control over the time they work. The guy above them is always in control, right? That is a pyramid structure. With Arbonne, with network marketing, it's completely different. You see, we're like a social media structure where I'm an independent entrepreneur and I'm connected to hundreds of others all across the globe who are doing exactly what I do. I'm not their boss. I am their leader. My entire goal in this business is to lift up someone else, because if they win, I win. We all win. That is the win-win philosophy of Arbonne, right? And so on another level, you see a lot of, people in network marketing who somewhat are bought into the hype. But I can assure you, with this business in Arbonne, we are the classiest company in the world. The way that we conduct business, we have an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. The way that we conduct business is so wholehearted. It's so incredible. And I'm so blessed to have been born into this business in a sense, because our intention is to serve people. It's people before profits. And that's what's so crazy important, right? So let me just back up. And since I don't have the time to get into, the finer details, the thing is, if you've never heard of this business before and you're on here, or if you've been in this business for 10 years, the core of life is being authentic. It's authenticity. It's living a life that is worth living. It is putting your energy into something that is contributing to the world, right? And so tonight, as you're going to sleep, I want you to ask yourself, what would be the most fulfilling path for me? What would absolutely light my fire? Because once you ask that, life becomes really simple, right? All the opinions of others or the crap that we deal with on a daily basis, that goes to the wayside. Because when our focus is how can I contribute, how can I grow, those are the highest human needs. When we're focused on that, nothing can get in our way, because the entire universe is aligned in a way to assist those who have that mission, right? So tonight, lay down, ask yourself what you want, define it, and then go for it, okay? And I am giving you permission as a man, as a woman, no matter what your walk in life is, to go out and to achieve your dreams. It's so powerful when you do that, okay? And don't let any external, categories, whether you're young or old, male, female, rich or poor, don't let any of that get to you. Just step up and create something better. And I spent a lot of time worrying about other people's perceptions of me. I spent so much time worrying how they were thinking of me, how they would perceive my authenticity, my power. But at the end of the day, do you know what I realized? I realized that people don't care about me. They're not thinking about me, right? They're so worried about what I'm thinking about them, or about how they're going to pay the bills, or about, their kid who's being bullied at school and has written a suicide note, right? They're not worried about us. And so we can be those beacons of light in this world. We can have that fulfillment to say, hey, listen, I care. I don't know you, but I care. Let me help you. And that's what's Arbonne about. That is what Arbonne is about. That is what we are about. That is why we are here. So step into it. Because I've stepped into it. I've shown that courage. I'm here today speaking into you guys. And I hope that you will reciprocate it and do the same. So that was really short. I know we only have 30 minutes, but I hope that I was able to deliver to the best of my potential.
Absolutely, Dylan. Thank you so much. I think absolutely everyone saw, your passion, your willingness to help others, your desire to help others. And that is really what propels people in our business, is that passion and that desire to help others. I will put you on the spot for just a little bit because we didn't cover this, if you're okay with it. Because, a lot of the times I mention that and I talk to that, to the points that you were making there, to people, and they don't really see it as a legitimate business. And again, we're guys. So I wonder if you would just go ahead and go over our 4 levels and our comp structure just a little bit. And I might be able to put a slide up if you give me a second.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, let me see if I can get this.
Awesome.
Okay, is that up there for everybody?
That works.
All right, that works. I'll just leave it there because I'm not so technology savvy, but I got it there. It's working. And I wonder if you kind of go through this and just give your feeling on what these levels mean to you and to others.
Totally. Well, here's the thing. I have been blessed enough to have grown up in this business and have seen a top 10 income earner, how she built this business and the results that you can get, right? At the end of the day, this business is a business of duplication. It's a business of leverage. Okay. Let's talk about the first level, right? So the first level is district manager. Now, a lot of people in this world, really what they need is a couple $100 at the end of the month to help make ends meet, right? That's really what they're looking for. A majority of people in this business they truly love what they're doing, but they want that extra money. They want that extra wiggle room. A district manager can help you achieve that. I mean, it's literally part-time work. It's like working a part-time job. And the average monthly income for that is $275 a month, but it can fluctuate anywhere from $200 to about $1,200 a month. And the average time to the position is 7 months. I went district manager in a month, right? With just consistent activity, connecting with my network. And that's really all it is. You can take your warm network and create it, and turn that into a district. The next level is area manager. This is where it gets really powerful, guys, because this is where your business is willable. Now, tell me, what business continues to pay you even when you're gone? If you work your job for, until you're 65, retire, and then at 97 years old, you pass away, would that job continue to pay your family for the rest of eternity? Absolutely not. But Arbonne has this incredible, advantage in our business where you can will your business to future generations indefinitely. And that's so crazy because the work you're doing today is going to truly serve your family. God forbid anything happened to you or your grandchildren, which is so crazy. Now, Area Manager takes 15 months to get you on average. The income from what I've seen is anywhere from $1,000 to about $3,500 a month. This is still working part-time, guys. It really doesn't get, to the point to where you're kind of working this as a main business till you get to regional vice president. So this is something where you can be making a couple grand a month and you're just putting part-time effort in it. You're maybe putting, 10 hours a week into your business and, your business is willable. You're making a couple, grand a month. And this is a really great spot for that really consistent, income. Next is regional vice president. This is where lives truly begin to change. Arbonne gives you an $800 bonus per month for a white Mercedes of your choice, which is, pretty awesome. When I was a kid, we went from a green Ford Windstar minivan with smelled like cat pee to a Mercedes. Now that was a pretty good switch, but it's a beautiful car. And that's, one of the perks of our business. But the average monthly income for that is anywhere from $5,000 to probably $15,000 a month. I've seen regions with, a $20,000 a month paycheck. The average time to that position is 28 months, right? So little over, 2 years to get to region. And that is a $5,000 to $15,000 income. That is a job replacing income where you're working for yourself internationally, which is really powerful because it gives you the ability to live the life of your dreams. And all it takes is 2 and a bit years of constant commitment, right? So the next level, this is where truly lives begin to change. This is like generational transformation. This is national vice president. Now, Arbonne's going to give you a $1,000 bonus instead of $800 bonus for your Mercedes, but that's inconsequential compared to the true impact of this. The average monthly income is $20,000 or $21,000 a month. I personally know of MVPs who are making 6 figures per month in this business, and the average time to that position is 48 months. I mean, it is so mind-blowing to me how, given the choice of working 40 years at a normal job or spending 3 to 4 years consistently building this Arbonne business, you can have an income like that. You can be changing lives all across the world with an income like that. Valerie Edwards, a close friend of ours, and I've known her since I was, this big. She became a national vice president and then started an orphanage in Guatemala where she adopted her son, and now she goes on mission trips 5 times a year to Guatemala to serve those people. I've been on 3 mission trips, and it's one of the most incredible things. But this just gives you an idea of what is possible in this business, guys. What is truly, and I've seen it. I know for a fact that this works, and all it is leveraging your network, right? It's not voodoo, wicked science. All we're doing is we're helping people use better products, and we're building a network of people who do exactly what we do. We're just duplicating. We're just leveraging our time, right? Because we all know at least 200 people. I guarantee you, if you were to have the biggest wedding you could possibly imagine, you can invite 200 people to your wedding, right? All we have to do is utilize that network. All we have to do is to mold our business into our network and to create, that time leverage that way. So super, super, super simple business, right?
Absolutely. A super business and a simple business. And especially if you have vision, and that's what, you talked about earlier, it was just right on the mark. So, just great. And we're, kind of right at 6:30 here. So we'll, kind of wrap up, but let me just, a couple of quick things.
Questions too. I'm totally open.
Yeah. I mean, we can certainly, if you're up for it, I'm game for opening it up. I'm not going to unmute everybody, but if you have a question, just unmute yourself and we'll put it out there for, a couple of minutes and see. And while you're doing all that, let me just remind everybody that next week, we have Jerry Rosenthal is our special guest. If you've not seen or heard Jerry, I suggest you be here and be here early. We might max out the Zoom because Jerry's amazing. He is a mindset coach, if you will. Coaching for champions is what he does. He only coaches for Arbonne representatives, which I love. He could really be doing this for everybody, but he only does it for us. So that's what's up next week. And with that, if anybody has any questions, let's fire away. All right, so I guess not an inquisitive group, but Dylan, let me just say again, thanks for being here and thanks for coming on and sharing your story and your energy and your passion. It is exactly what I think we needed to hear tonight. And again, if you're a guest tonight, get back to the person that invited you on here and just let them, know what you're feeling, what your thoughts are, what your questions are, and move forward. If you are an independent consultant, share this. I'll put out the recording in just a little bit. Share this with your teams because this is what success in Arbonne looks like. This is, and you just have to duplicate it as we talked about. So with that, I will say thanks again for everyone to be here. Next week, same bat time, same bat. Wait, we may have a commercial or a question rather.
I know my wife runs the business and she does home parties with facials and that kind of stuff. I'm wondering how the men run their businesses. What kinds of activities do they do?
What kind of, just to make sure I heard you right, what kind of activities can men do to build this business?
Absolutely, yes.
So here's the thing.
Go ahead, Dylan.
I hardly ever do parties. I do them, but I do them strategically. So the thing is that the great thing about this business is we don't have to go around, doing parties. We're not party pushers. We can do one-on-one events. We can do, virtual events. This business is so moldable to whatever we want it to be, right? So here's what I do normally. I'm a one-on-one guy. I love meeting for coffee. I love just really getting down and just learning about a person and seeing if I can offer them this opportunity, right? So that's what's really important is I think for men, the biggest thing is just the one-on-ones, right? Because we can get really personable. We can, really get in there and find someone's needs. So personally, I do one-on-ones. I talk to my network. I say, hey, listen, let's grab a coffee. I really want to kind of explain this more in depth to you. I want to learn about you. I want to see if I can serve you with this. What I also do, and this, I love it. I'm going to Taiwan next month, so I'm doing this a little bit right now. I love doing Zoom events, Zoom Discover Arbonnes, right? So this exact same thing, but connecting with people all across the world, or maybe someone in California or someone in New York. Right? We can build this business with 20 other people on here, be presenting to all of them, and I can be, my underwear. I'm not, but that's the idea. And I think that it's really appealing to men because we can really kind of get down with the business. We can sit here with a PowerPoint. We can be more logistic with how we're doing this. And it's a great way to leverage time. Now, let me also say, there's nothing wrong with parties, right? I know Bassam Bassal, this 6'7" former NBA player, the most masculine dude you'll ever meet. He goes and does makeup presentations. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that, but we can do our nutrition seminars. We can really talk about how our nutritional products can change people's lives. The thing is I like to utilize all aspects of all opportunities in this business, but for men, I'd recommend one-on-ones and virtual events. But at the same time, so if your wife, you might have mentioned that your wife does this business. I have a lot of teams, they're couples. And the interesting thing is a lot of times they both have their strengths, right? So I have a brand new couple recently, they own a hotel and we're doing a lot of marketing with that. But at the same time, so she is the guard dog. You release her and she'll like prospect everybody in the entire world if you let her. It's crazy. But she doesn't have any logistical sense, right? So she doesn't know how to train people. She doesn't really know a whole lot about the products. So we're training her husband on the products, on the training, on all the resources. So they're like a 1-2 punch, right? And I think that relationships oftentimes work a lot like that too. So each person has their strengths. Play to them. Use them to your advantage, right? You have 2 people instead of 1. Let that be a huge driving force. So that's my answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add on to that, my wife, Dinah, who's right here by my side, we are the opposite. She has a passion for the products. She knows the products inside and out. She knows all the toxins and what to stay away from. And I love the business. You know, I'm a nuts and bolts kind of guy. I'm a wealth manager. And so I love helping somebody create wealth from their own business. And like I said at the beginning, you know, for me, it's the freedom. You know, to me, when you define wealth, wealth is the ability to control your time 100%. Okay, if you can control your time 100%, you are wealthy. And it has nothing, that has nothing to do with the amount of money that you have. It has to do with the way you live your life. And so to me, that's the most important thing. And so I stress on that. We do all of our presentations together. We do parties together. We do one-on-ones together. We do everything together. She focuses on the things that she's strong about. I focus the things that I'm strong about. But you can use technology. You can do it one-on-one. You can do it in parties. You decide how you want to grow your business. So with that, I don't know if there's any other questions that are out there. We'll give it, 10 seconds here. And time's up. So Dylan, thanks again. Appreciate it. It's nice meeting you here and having you on. And thanks everybody for being here. Same time next week, we have another great guest. Good night, everybody.
All right, thank you.